you're going down.
You think?
Oh no. Going against the famous Phoenix. Oh, you beat me.
Whoa. We gotta take a break. We got a video to do.
Alright, we'll do a rematch right after this.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm Pete, and this is my dad, and we're gonna do our assignments today.
And it is Beyblade Day, isn't it?
Yep.
Alright. So, let's go ahead and get into your assignments. Before we get started, I got a couple of quick announcements for you and a few reminders. So, remember, the STEM project is due tomorrow. Okay? So, remember, STEM projects always due on Friday, May 8th. A couple of things to kind of remind you about. You need to make sure that you have a functioning wheelbarrow. That means a wheel and axle that actually functions on your wheelbarrow itself. And then also, of course, sending in those 2 pages of documentation. I've already got 1 page, I believe, from everyone. And making sure you send that 2nd page completed, complete sentences, finishing diagrams, all of that stuff. And then most importantly, a video that gets sent to me, right? And you can send that video to me through WeTransfer, so the quality is very good. I'm going to give you a quick example of what your video should kind of consist of, okay? You're giving a presentation over your STEM project. So, for instance, pretend that I am Major Huey, right? Okay, and what I'm going to do is that I would start my video, I would have my wheelbarrow ready, okay? And then I would go ahead and I'd start my video and I'd say, "Hey, Mr. Wright, I'm Major Huey. And here's my STEM project." Then you would explain to me what you made your wheelbarrow out of, and then you would also demonstrate how your wheelbarrow actually functions with the weight inside of it. Okay, remember, if you've got a smaller version, you can use pennies. Just tell me how much you have in there. But if you have a bigger version, I know some of you are going big or going home, right? And just make sure that you tell me how much weight you have in your wheelbarrow so that we can kind of collect all that information and I can really see who had the most powerful wheelbarrow, okay? So that is up to you. Remember, it could be as small as you want, but it has to function, so don't get too small, or it could be as big as you'd like. Make sure you stick to those materials. You can supplement some of those things that I've talked about in previous videos, and I think it's going to be a great turnout, just like always, right? So, stay prepared for that. That is going to be on Friday. Now, one thing that you need to also remember is that we have our, oh, my screen, didn't it? No, it's coming back on. Just give it a second. Okay, also, work. That's being turned in. We're coming down towards the end of the year here, guys, so typically I would give you 2 days to get your assignments in. We're no longer going to be able to do that because I need you to go ahead and submit your assignments the day that they're assigned. So I assign them very, very early in the morning so that you actually can get on there as early as you want to, and then you can go ahead and do your assignments and get those done and sent to me, and then you have the rest of the day to kind of do whatever you like to do. Now, so back to what I was getting ready to tell you was that you need to submit your work sometime the day it's assigned. So I'm going to assign you 2 assignments here, and then I need those by the end of today so that you can get your points for that, okay? That way, as we move closer to the end of the school year, we just can't have 2 days to get this stuff done because it gets piled up on you, and then here the last part of the year is already here, and you don't have enough time to get it made up, so you've got a bunch of missing assignments, and we just don't want that scenario. It's a small amount of work anyway, so go ahead and get that stuff done, get it turned in to me, and let's go ahead and also talk about the challenge, right? You guys have 23 straight days of perfect attendance, so let's make it to our big goal, perfect 30, and then if you have perfect attendance today, Phoenix and I are going to do the bottle flip competition.
And then what? I'm not sure about drinking lemon.
Well, you're going to have to. You better be practicing your bottle flip, because if you lose a round, you have to take a drink of lemon juice, and we're doing it 10 rounds. So we are excited about that. Hopefully you guys continue to work hard, make that happen, and I don't know. Phoenix is a little nervous about the lemon juice. I think it's going to be fun. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we have an opportunity to do that. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the first assignment, Phoenix. All right, so in your packet, okay, if you don't have your packet out in front of you and a pencil ready or in your highlighters, you need to pause this video, go ahead and get that stuff out in front of you so that you can work through these assignments with me. I'm going to obviously go through all the directions like I always do, and then I kind of throw out some hints and clues on a lot of answers, and sometimes I give you answers so that you can just go ahead and jot those down. Right, Phoenix?
Yep.
Work smarter, not harder, right? Yeah. But we're still working hard, though.
Yes.
All right?
Is your mind blown?
Yeah, my mind is blown, I think. All right, so daily language and math. Make sure it's Thursday, number 20, okay? So the first one talks about simile or metaphor. You're going to read this sentence, and then you're going to tell me whether it is a simile or a metaphor, just to refresh your memory on similes and metaphors. A simile compares two things using the words like or as. A metaphor compares two things not using the words like or as. So you're going to read the sentence, you're going to see whether they use like or as, and if they do, it's a simile. If they don't, it's going to be a metaphor, okay? So I will post this anchor chart to Google Classroom post of the day like I always do. Please take a look at it. Make sure that you're familiar with similes and metaphors. And then we have our correct these sentences. You know what to do there. Finding any and all mistakes. Make sure you use your editor's marks. Capitalization, punctuation is always good, right, Phoenix?
Yep.
And then 4 and 5, it says give the possessive form of the noun. We did this a few weeks ago, and I talked about possessive nouns, and there are two example problems here that you're going to have to do, but I'm going to actually go back over the ones that we did, I think a week or two ago, okay? So, for example, I have two examples here. And one of them says, give the possessive noun, same thing. It says the color of the blanket. Who does the color belong to? Well, it belongs to the blanket. So I would rewrite this phrase, and I would use an apostrophe S to show ownership. That's the possessive part, okay? Blanket is a noun. It possessed the color. So I would write the blankets with an apostrophe S, color, okay? Then the next example, the tail of the lion. Whose tail is it? It's the lion's tail. So I would write the lion's, apostrophe S to show ownership, tail. Okay? So you're going to do this same thing on your daily language and math today. Okay? The rattle of the snake. Who does the rattle belong to? It belongs to the snake. So to show that ownership, you've got to use an apostrophe S on the end of snake. Okay? And rewrite that phrase like I just did in those other two examples. Now, down at the bottom, you have your math, which is always my favorite. Basic fact, 12 divided by 6. Then we have 101 times 6, right? And make sure that you use the traditional algorithm. Show your work, okay? 6 times 1, do it 6 times every place value. You know how to do the traditional algorithm. Number 3, rounding. We talked about this a couple of videos ago. You're going to round 389,935 to the nearest 100,000. So you've got to know your place value. I have my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So remember, when we round, I always underline the place value. So I'm going to underline that 3. Do that now. And I'm going to circle the one before it. The one I circle tells me whether I'm going to change this 3 or leave it alone. And remember the saying, 5 or more, change the score. Say it with me. 5 or more, change the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Right. So, is this 8 going to change my 3? You figure that out based on what Phoenix and I just told you. And then once you have figured out whether you're going to change the 3 or let it rest, the rest of those become zeros. So your number should have the same amount of place values in it as you started with. Now, number 4, pretty simple question. Which is longer, 1 foot or 1 meter? You've shown them. I've shown you. We've worked with meter sticks in the classroom. You know how long they are. You should know how long a foot is. Has 12 inches in it. So that's a pretty easy question. Now, number 5, it says, Lucy has a library book that is 6 days overdue. The library charges 45 cents for the first day and 25 cents for each additional day the book is overdue. How much does Lucy owe the library in overdue fines?
That is a lot.
Yeah, she shouldn't be turning in late books, should she?
Yeah.
Right, always turn your books in on time. So, there's two different ways you can do this, okay? You can do it the more advanced way and use multiplication and think about, okay, the first day is going to be 1 times 45 cents, and then I have 5 more days of being charged 25 cents. So then you can take 5 times 25, okay? You have your 45 times 1, and then you can add all that up at the end. Now, or you could do it the more basic way and use repeated addition. I know that I'm going to be charged 45 cents for the first day, and then I'm going to be charged 25 cents for the next 5 days after that. So you could just add 45 cents plus all of your additional 25 cents for each day, and then get your total. Regardless, you should be underlining and circling. Underline the question, circle the important information, okay? You know what to do. That is part of showing your work. Also, showing your math, whether you are multiplying, adding, whatever you're doing, I need to see that work for you to get full credit on it. So, always show your work, right?
Always show your work.
That's right. Okay, and on the rounding problem, I want to see that underline the place value you're rounding to, and then circling the one before it to kind of show your rounding process.
Yeah.
Alright, the next assignment for today is going to be talking about the physical map of the United States. We live in the United States, don't we, Phoenix?
We do?
Yeah? You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, we live in the state of Kansas, right? In a town called Caney. And then we also live in the United States. That's the country we live in. Now, it says the physical map, if you remember, is a map that shows the natural landforms and waterways of a place. Okay? So, you need to read through this teaching page. It gives you lots of information that you can use on your assignment. Okay? And then, of course, most importantly is your vocabulary. Elevation, height of the land above sea level. So elevation is basically the measurement of how high you are above that sea level. Okay? And then gulf, a large area of ocean partly surrounded by land. An island is a piece of land surrounded by water on all sides. A landform is a natural land feature on Earth's surface, such as a mountain or a hill, and I'm going to show you an anchor chart of landforms here in a second. Mountain range, a chain of mountains. Physical map, a map that shows the natural landforms of water on Earth's surface. Plains, a large flat area of land. The plains are actually where we live. We got a lot of flat area of land here, right in Central America, and so we're in the center of the United States here, and they call it the plains. Plateau is an area of high flat land, so it's kind of like the plains, but the elevation is higher, okay? So, go back over those vocabulary words. Remember this anchor chart that I used a few weeks ago? Landforms, it lists your basic landforms here: mountain, plain, valley, island, peninsula, ocean, river, and lake. That's just to name a few, okay? Now, to our map. A couple of things I want you to do on your map right now. One of them is, I want you to write inset map over here, because these, as you know, are inset maps. They are smaller maps that have been inserted on a larger map, okay? And they show you where they are in the bigger picture, basically, okay? So inset map, label that. You also need to fill out your compass rose, because you're going to be using that. So north, south, east, and west. Go ahead and fill that out. And then you also need to make a note up here by the Great Lakes. Remember, the Great Lakes was part of our first regions test, okay? And to remember your Great Lakes, we remember homes. Homes, each letter represents the name of each lake, okay? Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior, okay?
Do you think the kids like my marble run?
They haven't seen that yet, okay? So, go ahead and do that on your map, and then go ahead and let's take a look at the questions, okay? So, on today's assignment, I want you to do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all the questions on this first sheet. Let me repeat that. You're going to do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's questions. There's 6 questions here, okay? So, make sure that you read the questions carefully. you're going to circle the part of the question that you're going to have in your answer. I've done the first one for you. I went ahead and used a highlighter because it shows up a little bit better here. It says name 4 kinds of landforms that are shown on the map. Well, I just got done talking about landforms, so go back to that anchor chart and review. But I'm going to use this part of the question. So I would start my question out. 4 kinds of landforms that are shown on the map are, and then you can give your answer, okay? So I've already done most of the work for you on number 1. Remember, these assignments are heavily weighted on points of making complete sentences, okay? Each question is going to be worth 4 points like it always is. A point for capitalization, a point for punctuation, a point for restating the question in your answer, and then the last point is for actually having the right answer. So if I get this answer wrong, I can actually get the majority of the points because if I get everything else but the answer, I got 3 out of 4 points, okay? So make sure that you're going through that checklist of how to make a good 4th grade sentence and having all of those things that I just went over. Right, Phoenix? Yep. Working hard and making sure that you do those things so you can get all those easy points. Capitalization, punctuation, you've been doing that since kindergarten. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and give you an answer. Okay? Number 2, it says, in which area of the U.S., the Northwest, the North Central, or the Northeast of the Great Plains located? Are the Great Plains located? So, where are the Great Plains located? Well, I look back to my map, and I have an area here that's called the Great Plains. That's in the middle of the United States. That would be central, okay? So, if I look back at my answer choices, I have northwest, no, wasn't on the west, northeast, wasn't on the east, it was in the middle, so that would be central. So in my answer, this is what you're going to write down. You can copy my answer right here. I restate the question in my answer, start with a capital letter. The Great Plains are located in the north central area of the U.S., period at the end. I highlighted what I used in my question to restate, right? The Great Plains are located in, I used all of that, okay? So, there's an easy answer for you. Go through the rest of the questions and make sure that you have all of those things. I've given you a great example of what the rest of these should look like. Remember, try to start your sentences a little bit differently if you can, and not have them all start with the. You know, we've worked on that too, giving a little variety to your sentences, okay? So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday questions, get it all done, and get a picture sent to me, and that is the last of your assignments for today. So, just to recap, okay? You have daily language and math Thursday, number 20, and then you have daily geography Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday questions, okay? And I will attach all the anchor charts to Google Classroom. That way it can help you, and make sure you get that stuff turned in today by the end of the day, okay? And if you have any questions or need any help, please don't hesitate to call me as always, right, Phoenix?
Yep.
We are more than willing to help. Okay, so good pictures, name, date, mailbox number at the top. All completed assignments need to be turned in at the end of the day. I put a note on the Google Classroom for you. STEM project due tomorrow. I'm excited about seeing those, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and battle one more time. How about that?
Okay.
Tell them what you always tell them though.
Do good on work and don't walk.
All right, let's make this happen. Are you ready to battle?
I think I'm ready.
Well, let's see.
3, 2, 1, let it rip! Bang!
You're going down this time.
No, you're just wasting your...
I'm dancing around you. Uh-oh. Oh no, I'm already slowing down. Oh, you got me again.
See you kids next time. Bye.
Bye.